Breaker dense and marker mark. This is the new Noah's Ark. But, it's a clear thought, you know. It's also what we do best. Because obviously, I'm not kind of always alleviating what the others are concerned with. You know, right now I was just going over the bench. If you don't remember, the bench was the incident in 2007 with Aunt Martha and Brian. And so those things deteriorated into a nonsense thought of oblivion. Not in the same way you would think, though. That day will be the abbreviation of everything. One thing that I know for sure is that those things are not condescending to me as a character. In fact, they're probably the only things that created my character from that friendship. And also the incident of I hate you and envy you. But not in a bad way. What can I say? It wasn't a bad thing. What it was I should have realized that it affected me enough to bring about the Naaman thing. What was happening with Naaman, the one guy who was, you know, touching me inappropriately and everything at the time. It brought that up for some reason. Whether or not, you know, I guess maybe that kind of feeling of hate in a way, and envy in a way, it kind of just brought up the suspicion of characters. And it also brought up the reasoning behind what the hell this guy was doing to me. I mean, why was he doing this? So I just assumed that, oh yeah, Martha's doing the same thing right now. That's it. That's all she's doing. She's doing the same exact thing. She's using that wool over, and it's just gonna break. Within a scepter, it's gonna just break, and Maker won't have any answers anymore. So I can't even make this my own contribution to it anymore. The double steel imperial dragon can't always watch you as you sleep. But the double steel imperial dragon does watch you as you sleep. That's exactly what he does. I'm the double steel imperial dragon that watches you as you sleep. I certainly understood this. The breaker of insanity couldn't even break this. Maker of skins couldn't even understand it. Poisonous seed. Mere reluctance. Character of assertion. I mean, it's pretty simple. What makes me? Nothing. What destroys me? Many things. Especially at the time. It was an easy thing to destroy. It was an easy thing to just admit defeat in a way. In a way. Not saying totally I was admitting defeat, because it wasn't about admitting defeat in the first place. It was about understanding my character. And my character couldn't be understood within, you know, that kind of time frame. That's a pretty small time frame to just say, I know what I have to do now. I know what I have to do now. Everything's going to work out in its own particular ways, and it's going to work out fine. That's not what it was about. Because obviously it wasn't about that. It was about running back into my own character again. Understanding my own character and knowing that everything not worked out into its own benefit, but worked out into its own, you know, sort of pattern of not guilt, but ideas. Because mostly, when a situation goes wrong, most people refer to the other person as, did you ever feel the pain? And they always refer back to their own pain, not to the quadrunal understanding of that rotating sphere that is around them, but mostly because they don't like when somebody else has their own understanding in mind of their own understanding of mind. I mean, it's the most obscure thing. The substance of a character, you know, they don't like, nobody likes it when everyone else has their own substance of a character. I mean, people don't, and the problem is people don't like it when you don't either. It's like, think about it. For example, I'm going to bring this up very simply, and I'm not putting her down when I say this, but I'm going to use her as an example. When Jack said to me, Marcello, you should pick out something. And when I don't have an understanding of what I want, people are upset. Not upset to that frequent degree, but certainly overbeared with it. You know, oh, that menagerie of glum thoughts and feral breaths. But it's the same exact thing when somebody doesn't like that you've had certain experiences, and retrospectively for yourself. But that's what counts. Nothing else can count. The Altrusion doesn't work any other way. You know, the sort of thing where you're trying to help a few people here and there. I consider myself an Altrusion, but not a martyr, you know. Altrusion, maybe, not a fucking martyr. Because a martyr is somebody that other people look up to. You can't make yourself a martyr if no one likes you. You can make yourself an Altrusion, because most people, you know, don't like Altrusions anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know, because most people think they're very insensitive because they don't have any lack of sustenance of ideas. So that means that they may not show any sexual, you know, monopoly. They won't have that sort of growth and girth sort of thing because they can't. You know, I mean, literally there's no benefit from that. You know, the problem is that if you use your mind more, you think about that more. And then people go, yeah, that's kind of weird. But they shouldn't, because literally it's critical thought, you know. But the thing is, if you are grown up in critical thought and constant critical thought, then there's issues about, well, who's going to win this? Or who's going to know this? Who's going to understand this better? You know, and then they sort of break down in their atmosphere of characters because, you know, just like anything, you know, your flame of understanding comes within the context of, you know, those traps like those, you know, fly traps that they have. Not Venus fly traps, none of that. The actual fly traps that are around today, the stickiness ones, the ones for humans in the plastic. And the yellow and the yellow container. Yeah, that one. The plastic and yellow container inside. That's the one, the stickiness one. The human-made one. Because all of a sudden there's that smacking of the lips, you know. You know, sometimes, you know, other people consider it, my life is my life. I gotta really use it in my own way. But the thing is, you're also breaking standards. Not the standards in the usual sense, but more standards in that sort of, I'm gonna cry till I have justice sense. You know? Because, you can only create things through your mind, through understanding of the benevolence of things, you know? And also the piano chords. You know, how the piano rocks, how the piano makes noises. Because those are the most important substance of. Because it's easy to say we can't reflect upon previous decades to encourage our characters. You know, because a lot of people say, oh no, we're not in that mood anymore. Yeah, you're not. You certainly are not, obviously, because you sound like you're not. You've gotten past that view. But it wasn't wrong because it died out in the most. Because it certainly did not die out completely, because I have that view. And you know what? It's not about hope. It's not about things that are undeniably deniable. It's about the fact that your encouragement just showed that its failure is possible. Because your encouragement only relies on people having the same view as you and beliefs as you. Real encouragement goes beyond the sphere of anybody's beliefs and anybody's views, whether they're political, religious, integral to their own personal representative thoughts and understandings of who they are as a person and expressing themselves. That's where the most encouragement comes from. So if your encouragement has to do with denial of existence of everybody else and saying that we're past that, and automatically trying to keep on reinforcing that we're past that, then all of a sudden the dying out begins. Then you really don't care about humans, and your idea of encouragement is a lie. It never was real. Because real encouragement, unlike most sustenance of thought, can only lead to actions of answers to all mediums of wealth, and mediums of character, and mediums of visibility towards the persons of warfare and towards the persons of individualism, because it would only come through that means. And the encouragement dies out after that. I mean, do you really think people really like Dr. Phil? I mean, literally. How many people do you think actually like the guy as a person? Sorry. It's a pretty low number. They may like him as a show, because the scatterbrained can only run to the, marginalized and look down at them. I mean, come on, what else do you do? You can only look at the people lower than you and say, ha! And it's not only lower than you, people in the same positions as you, even, or people in higher positions that are in worse shape. And guess what? Unlike you, they'll actually admit it. They'll live up in that. I mean, to me, I still respect all the people that go on there, but not necessarily because they're actually trying to fix their issue that way. And the main problem is that it becomes a circus, and they're the circus. The only benefit is that they can actually speak to the public and show the public exactly who they are. The public couldn't do that. They just watch and laugh. Or clap their hands. I mean, but that's the thing about this, is that we're gonna blame, it's that we can't blame multiple things. There has to be, no matter what, for individuals, there must be a vital origin. You can't, look at everything and kind of have individual origins for people's characters. You gotta have some kind of substance of thought, because there can't be original people at some point. That's what a lot of people assume. I'm not saying this is what it is, but this is the substance of what it is now. At least in reality, of a sense. Of course, if you're listening to me talking, you probably don't have that reality. Or if you do, well, then you should probably brush me off as a friend, from the beginning. As the Magus said, And if you don't really like somebody for what they think, or their personal views, then you would brush them off from the beginning, Because you honestly wouldn't hold something in that deep. The destruction, the crying, the breaking, the animals, the rushing from one place to the other, jogging, running, writing, reading. I mean, all these things, you wouldn't do that. If you found an individual of character within your prospects of thought that you wanted around because of those individual things, it's understandable. But if you want to talk about other things too, and then you get upset, wait, hold it a second there. Breaker marks thoughts, no, that isn't going to work. All of a sudden, your ideas throw back into their old sense. Because maybe you shouldn't have began this in the first place. Because all of a sudden, your drowning aspect comes within a thought of the metal wheels of a car, of a scooter, of a motorcycle. You can only create things if you don't want to. You can't create things if you want to. What was it? I read an interesting quote about mine, my old one, recently. And I should read it again, because it was an important one. It was an interesting one because it viewed it. It said something that I think really fits into what's going on. The world wants you to feel, not what you can say, but what is in front of you. Think about it. Think of all your parents. All your parents. Not necessarily in a bad way, good way, contemptible way, excoriating love way. Let's just think in the general sense. The world wants you to feel what? Not what you can say. Now, wait a minute. What's more important to you? All of you out there. What's the most important thing to all of you? Is it what you can say, or what is in front of you? To me, it is what you can say. I've had interviews with jobs where I've said things, maybe not in the best... Well, no. With most places I've had said the best things possible, and I think many of the people were just taken aback from the ability that I have to really do work. And I think they didn't want to hire me because of that. Because I was able to handle my work and handle my job and say, I'm going to be here for a while. You know, if you like that, you like that. If you don't, if you want me to be out of here in 6 months, you can do that too. I don't care. If you want to fire me for something that I did not do even, I don't care. But I want work right now. I've said that even. Didn't work out so well. But I've said that in general. I don't care. I want work. Certain places I will not work at though. There's definitely a certain character surge around me that I certainly cannot deal with on my own. I can deal with it with my brother. I can deal with it in those kind of situations where I have stableness around me, because that isn't stable when there's a total surge of appearance that I can't take. Because, you know, you will never think so deeply. Except in the words that I can't say. And I don't need money, but when it comes to doing something bad and blaming someone, for example, to just get the money, or turning your back at what happened in your life and never concerning it, that shows how much money is envied and never showed for how little it counts for what your fucking life is. I mean, that's what it is. You know, I got an interview at this one place, a gas station. Couldn't do it. They looked like they were going to hire me. I said, no thanks. You know, I didn't say no thanks. They actually made it easy on me. They said, you have to call back Thursday. I said, okay. One, they're being sarcastic. Very sarcastic. To the point of, don't take me seriously. You know, and that isn't even sarcasm at that point. At that point, it's past sarcasm. I wish they were being sarcastic. That's how much, you know, they got too far to it. So I was like, you know what? These guys are cynical wrecks. That's what I call people that pretty much joke to the point of no return. Fuck them. And I was like, you know what? I don't need that kind of job. You know, I can stick around people that joke around, but literally, it's a 24/7 bit there. It's like, you have to be always on. It's like, no way. I can be on, but I can be on my work. I can handle situations with employees. I can handle situations with the crowd. With employees, it's a little different, though. If they're going to start shit, it's understandable that, you know, maybe not everybody can count on it easier. Can't count to the side even. But it's a simple thing. I want work so I can understand others, but I also want work so I could break down every thought that sort of comes into my TikTok of mind, you know, the mind's time. So I'm gonna understand you a lot better now. I'm gonna make you look at things with marvels at it, and it takes their breath away. So the double steel imperial dragon that watches you as you sleep, we'll say that. We'll close the evening quick, and we'll make it so that none of you ever have to face this on your own, because none of you will ever be alone. You'll always have the double steel imperial dragon that watches you as you sleep, and you'll never have to worry about it, because I'll always be here. I'm watching it, and I'll never ever put you in a position where you do nothing but what is in front of you. You can do exactly what you can say. Close, mark, fists.